Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Becoming You podcast. Now, I decided to carry on from last week's topic and decided to create another episode of yet more parenting myths that we all succumb to and torture ourselves with. And this came as a result of the fact that I've been talking to quite a few parents for market research for my upcoming program, The Grounded Parent. And also my free training, my workshop that's coming up, it's called Connecting Parents Through Clear Boundaries. Now, if that's of interest, either one is of interest to you, go check out the links in the show notes. And you can sign up for the workshop on May 13th, which is coming up this Saturday, if you're listening to it on the day this podcast has been released. And the Grounded Parent program is going to be open for enrollment very, very soon. So here we go. Let's dive in, okay? So the number one on the list for today is this feeling of like everything that I do as a parent is going to traumatize my kids or make them resentful of me. Now, we live in an age where conscious parenting, gentle parenting, positive parenting, connected parenting is becoming like more talked about in the mainstream, right? Like there are more people saying traditional parenting or like tough parenting isn't working anymore. I really want to be more conscious of how I parent, etc. And that is wonderful. But it is normal to fall into this thinking that if I yell at my kid or if I lose my temper at them, or if I behave like a child and I don't, like do the right thing always, that it's going to leave some indelible wounds. So now I talk a lot about emotional wounds and the things that have happened in my childhood that I'm still working on healing, right? That is inevitable. Every single one of us has a journey that we need to walk through in life. And no matter how great a parent you are, no matter how conscious a parent you become, it is inevitable that you and I, including me, who lives, breathes, studies this thing, will leave some marks on our kids that they will need to heal from, right? But what we are doing is giving them an incredible start and maybe an advantageous start because of the fact that you are choosing to become a conscious parent. But the very fact, like if you are always worried that you are traumatizing your kids or you're going to, because of the way you behave or act, or because you're so focused on your career, or because you're so busy all the time that your kids are going to be resentful of you, that is going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy to some effect. So I want you to know that you are doing a wonderful job. Your kids do not resent you. The only way that could happen is if you are absent or went out of your way to be unkind and harmful. The very fact that you worry about traumatizing them and making them resentful of you means that you are not. And just release the pressure of having to be the perfect parent. I want to give you a recent example of a video that I just posted on Instagram, which kind of like spread really fast in a positive way. I took a video of me apologizing to my son for the way that I had yelled at him. So we'd come back and it's been a long day. My husband wasn't around to help and it was the end of the day. I hadn't had anything to eat. I'd taken them ice skating for the ice skating lesson and I knew like looming ahead of me, there was dinner, there was shower time and putting them to bed. And I had to go prep my own dinner. So I was looking ahead at a long evening and an evening where I was already tired. So, and my kids had been bickering in the back of the car all the way back from the ice skating lesson. So we were all cranky, we were all hangry. And as we were getting out of the car and unloading all the gear, there was just more bickering that was happening between my youngest and my oldest, and I really snapped at my youngest for the way he was behaving and treating his brother and how he was being hypersensitive. And the irony of it, that I was being hypersensitive to his behavior, and I yelled at him and said a few words that I definitely could have not said. And so he and I rarely ever raise my voice at my kids anymore. And I feel terrible after I do it. And so he stormed off and, everything got done that night. And as I was getting him ready for bed, I took the time to reflect on my behavior with him and I apologized because he started the conversation with, I feel like a really bad person. And I was really taken back by that comment. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I said this and then you said this. And then everyone started yelling at me, everyone meaning me and my oldest. And he goes, like everyone just started yelling at me. So I must have done something bad, right? So you get how he said my behavior was inexcusable and I apologized. Is that going to leave a mark on him? Maybe, maybe not. But what he is going to remember is how his mom took the time to apologize and be really sincere about it and not gaslight him about it, which is make him feel like it was his fault that I yelled at him, right? It was your behavior that made me yell at you, right? That would cause further wounding and make him like the reason that I behaved badly, right? That is not a sincere apology. But what I did was I gave myself grace and I let myself off the hook for not being perfect in that moment. It is impossible to behave as a perfect parent 24/7 all your life. That is just an unrealistic expectation and you are setting yourself up to fail. Instead, be the type of parent who will course correct and take responsibility for your imperfections and model it to your kids. So I took this as an opportunity to model to my son on how to take responsibility for my not so great behavior and how to make a sincere apology, right? How to make a sincere apology. So everything you do as a parent is not going to traumatize or make your kids resentful of you. What they are going to remember is how you manage to reconnect with them. And, part of the Grounded Parent program is going to be about how do I turn the conflict that I have with my kids and use that and leverage that to make it into a connection point. We believe that all conflict is bad, but conflict is actually really, really productive because what is happening in a conflict is two parties are coming to a conversation saying, this doesn't work for me and this doesn't work for me. So stop being scared of conflict. Stop being scared of, fighting, not on purpose with your kids, but we all have unintentional fights and always, always use that and ask yourself, how can I use this to create more connection, to create a deeper bond? It's not just a fracture. We can always heal those fractures and build an even stronger foundation after the fracture. All right. So number 2, I need to be hard on my kids because the world is a hard place. Or saying something like, my parents were really hard on me and it actually worked out really well for me, or I turned out just fine. So this idea of I turned out just fine, I actually have really opposing views to that. Yes, like we all turned out just fine, but why settle for fine? That's always my question. Like, what if you knew there was a better way and that we could set up our kids for even more success, more emotional intelligence, more resilience, more confidence, right? What could we do to parent in a way that they don't have to heal from so much, that they could be the risk takers that you always wanted to be, but maybe didn't have the courage to because your parents said like in passive ways that your job was to have a safe income, right? Just to give you an example. And this idea of like, I need to be hard on them because the world's a hard place. That's actually a backward argument. So to give you an example, it's like saying, car accidents are really, really common in the world. So let me get into a car accident so I know what it feels like when I'm actually in a car accident, etc. Or it's saying like, I had a car accident when I was 10, like my body's just fine now. I'm 40. Look how I turned out. Like, right? Wouldn't you rather have avoided the car accident in the first place so you didn't have to go through the healing process? That's exactly what this argument is seeming, right? Like I need to be hard on them because the world's a hard place. Yes, the world is a very hard place. They are going to have so many challenges and struggles and heartbreaks and disappointment. Instead of giving them more of that hardness, why don't we help them feel really secure in who they are and their capability to handle the hard stuff? And we give them the confidence to handle the hard stuff, not by being hard on them, but by actually being safe to them. And what I mean by that is helping them realize that they can handle anything that comes along their way. And the only way to build emotional resilience is to let kids struggle. I don't mean create like artificial struggle, but validate their experience, meaning like be kind to them when they're going through hard things. So for a really simple example is you tell your kids, don't do that, and warn them against something. And then they go ahead and do it anyway, and they make a mistake. And instead of saying, I told you so, you shouldn't have done that, or yelling at them for not listening to you, it's to empathize with them and say, sometimes there are just consequences to not listening, right? Like it's a different way of saying, I told you so. Or, oh, buddy, like, I'm so sorry that happened, and just leave it, right? Because I promise you they learned the lesson. You rubbing it in their face is actually not going to help the situation. It's going to create shame around that learning experience. If you don't say anything and actually just help them with the cleanup while being quiet, they're going to feel safer and they're more likely to listen to you the next time because you didn't rub their faces in it, because you didn't shame them on it, right? And another example of not being hard on them could be like forcing them to stick to things that they don't want to do because you are worried about them being a quitter, right? A lot of times parents, we will sign up our kids for activities in the beginning because our kids said yes, not that they're being forced into it. And then a few weeks into it, our kids might change their mind, right? Like obviously do your job and your due diligence of digging deeper into why it is that they want to stop. Maybe the timings don't work. Maybe they're having a hard time transitioning, going from one thing to the next for this activity. And maybe you're giving them screen time before they have to head off to this activity, and this activity doesn't feel as much fun to transition from the screen time. So dig into the environment and reasons as to why they could be saying no. But after exploration, if it feels like it's just not a good fit for them, right? A lot of traditional parenting and tough parenting would be like, nope, you gotta stick to it. Like that's how you're gonna keep trying, right? That's how you're gonna actually like it in the end. Or to prove some part of you that fears that you don't want them to be quitters, right? A lot of times our parenting stems from our own fears and our own wounds and our own not enoughness. And we are trying to prove differently to our kids or have them do different things so that they don't turn out like us, or have them do the same things that we did because we want them to turn out like us, right? And that just is not who they were meant to be. They're meant to be their own person, not copycats of us or complete opposites of us. So this idea of I need to be hard on them because the world is a hard place is, to me, one of the most flawed arguments. Because once they go out into the real world, it absolutely is going to be the hardest place. Like life can be really hard. And why do we want to give them a taste of that very early on in their childhood, right? Like at some point, they're going to get sick in life, right? Like some sort of illness. And it's like saying, let me give them food that's not great for them because they're going to get sick at some point. We want to build a really healthy body so that when they go out to college or whatever and feed themselves junk, like they know what a healthy body feels like versus a not so great energized body, right? We want them to have a really strong foundation of what it feels like to have a safe, secure, understanding, empathetic, sympathetic home and family life so that when hard stuff happens, they've already had a taste of how good life can be so they can get back up to that level. If we're always knocking them down, criticizing them, judging them, and doing things in a way to like make them feel not good enough so that they will get back up and rise again, we're actually damaging their self-esteem and self-worth. Now, this is my personal opinion. Obviously, parenting is a very personal choice, so you're welcome to take this advice or not take it. All right, number 3, validating or empathizing with my kids will make them too soft or weak or too attached. Now, validating means simply letting your kids know, I understand what you are going through in this situation. Like it's normal, the feelings that you are feeling, right? A lot of us do not know how to validate. One, because we've never had anyone do that for us. And two, because of this fear. Like if I empathize too much with them or if I tell them, like, I understand what's going on, like they're not going to know how to correct the situation or they're not going to know how to like rise from feeling down, right? Like let's say they're feeling really, really sad because a friend said something that you might think is not that bad or that terrible. But maybe you have a sensitive child and it hits them really, really hard and they're down for a day or two or three and they just keep harping on about it, right? Now, invalidating with their experience would be to say, oh my gosh, like that was, I don't think it's that bad, right? They just said what they felt. Like just, just get over it. Or this is your best friend. They probably didn't mean anything by it, right? Like these are all really kind things we want to say to help cheer up our child. But what you're doing is actually invalidating their experience completely and saying, you know what, like, I don't understand what it is, what's such a big deal, right? And to them, it is a big deal. And so when we validate, what we're making them feel is less alone and less scared. True, it might not be what I feel, but I don't have to understand. I'm here for you anyway. I'm here with you in your feelings. And I'm going to help you to sit with your feelings, right? I'm not going to try to rush you to change your mind and to change your emotion. I'm going to sit with you so that you can feel these feelings deeply until they pass. That is validating. And actually, that's what builds emotional resilience. Because what you're saying is, you're going to figure this out. You're going to know how to feel better, unless like you want my help. I'm happy to provide that. But your child is going to figure out tools for themselves to claw their way back out, right? The feeling that we're all running away from in the world through all the distractions that we have and all the unhelpful things that we do of people pleasing, etc., is to get away from certain emotions. Like we don't want to feel like we're not good enough. So we will go turn on Netflix, right? We're scared that people won't buy the thing that we're putting out. So we will procrastinate and not actually produce the work. But teaching our kids, like if somebody came along, right, and said, oh, that must be so hard. Like that must be so hard, but I believe in you and I think you can do the thing, right? That's a completely different experience. It doesn't make you too weak. It actually makes you really, really strong when somebody validates you because it makes you feel like nothing's actually wrong with me. This is completely and perfectly normal. Like what I'm going through and what I'm feeling is a human experience and it's normal. Everybody goes through it. And when you realize that everybody goes through it, we start making things about ourselves and we just start getting on with accomplishing our dreams or going after our goals or whatever it might be. So validating your child's experience and empathizing with what they're going through without fixing them actually makes them stronger. And the thing of like, I'm creating kids that are too attached. Attachment, like secure attachment, right? Which means the child knows that mom and dad are always there for me no matter what. That is a secure attachment. And you create that through validation and you create that through empathy, not by being like super hard and tough and critical and judgmental of them. That actually creates insecurity. So secure, like if our kids are too attached to us, I don't mean attached in the sense of like they rely on you to do all their tasks for them. I mean attachment in the fact that I can go to my parents no matter what. They're there for me. They've got my back. But you create that sense of attachment through not only validation of their emotions and feelings and experiences, but just by physically being there for them. Like my 9-year-old, right? This is such an Asian thing. Like he still loves to be spoon-fed by me at dinner. Now, some of you listening to this might be rolling your eyes or gawking, being like, oh my gosh, like what a spoiled child, right? I used to think that, and I used to be really hard on him and be like, you eat what you want, like I'm not feeding you, right? But each child is so different. And he is someone who craves like one-on-one attention from me. And I found that actually makes him a happier, more emotionally well-balanced child. And at feeding him dinner on school nights, because he has breakfast and lunch at school. He has breakfast at home, but he feeds himself. I don't know why breakfast is different. Lunch is done at school. So the only meal that I really get with him is at dinner time. And that creates less drama and tension at home because when he has to like eat by himself, it does create a lot of drama, which then creates so much tension around the house when dinner time is supposed to be a connecting time. And it creates anxiety for my oldest. And I found that I actually really enjoy it. And he actually has really nutritious meals. He's more willing to try new things when he's being fed, right? For him, it's not a feeling of entitlement, like mom has to feed me. It's a feeling of I'm connected to my mom and mom's taking the time, right? Obviously, every family is different. Every child is different. Every situation is different. But I've done my due diligence of analyzing the environment, the behavior, the need of my child, and the benefits and the downside of it, right? And for me, the benefits outweigh the downside. In the long run, this is creating connection and a secure attachment style. And it's connection to me is the most important thing with my child, right? And when he's at friend's house, etc., he's not waiting on me to come feed him. Like that would be a huge detriment if that's what was happening here, right? I want him to be independent when he goes to a friend's house on sleepovers, at parties, etc. And it absolutely does work that way. It's only at home he has this need. So I'm like, why not? Right. So, like I said, every family is different. And if you are on the judging side of it or you're having a hard time understanding this, I get it. I get it because each parenting situation and child and family life is very, very unique. And part of what we'll be covering in the Grounded Parent is that no single parenting technique or style is correct. Even the ideas and the techniques I'm handing out to you right now will need to be adjusted for your own individual needs. So that's part of the help that you will be getting in the Grounded Parent of like, how do I take this and adjust it to my own situation? And a lot of the things that I have created in my own life to become a conscious parent was not from reading books and templates and framework and structures and copying and pasting it to my family. It actually stemmed from the internal healing that I have done and what my inner child needed, right? So much of the parenting books and the podcasts that you listen to, including mine, it can work to a certain extent. But I think in one of the previous episodes, I talked about embodying it. Embodying means like you breathe it, you live it. Right. So if you want to validate and empathize with your kids, with their struggles, you can't do that to the fullest effect until you have given that to yourself and your inner child. That is how I know how I can hold and be fully confident in my ability to hold space for my children. Because I have walked the walk and I have talked the talk. I have given that to my own younger self, who needed validation, who needed empathy for what she was going through, even though at the moment people might have told her this is nothing or brush it off, or it wasn't even a blip on their radar, right? So that is what we'll be covering in the growth program, The Grounded Parent, of how do I heal my inner child? That's one of the main pillars of this program. Because there are a ton of parenting coaches out there, believe you me, there are a ton of parenting books out there. But what makes me and this program so unique is that I help you embody it. Embody this, live it, breathe it, believe it. Not just a prescription that I'm doling out. And, you know, like I want you to heal yourself and connect with yourself on such a deep level that it like transfers and flows out into your parenting. And it becomes this really natural, intuitive thing that you do instead of having to scratch your brain and reach for that technique in the moment. That's so prescriptory, right? Like, I want this to become so intuitive so you don't have to keep remembering things. Like, it becomes part of who you are. And that is what the 8-week program will help you do. All right, the next one. I need to put on a positive face so my kids only see the positive side of me. I don't want them to worry. I want them to enjoy their childhood. Oh my goodness. This idea of like, I don't want them to see me upset because I'm going through hard things or I feel depressed. There are days where I have like really dark days that I just want to like sleep all day, right? And I do that. And I explain to my kids at a level that is appropriate for them that mom's just having a hard day. And sometimes we have hard days and we just need days off where we don't feel like functioning or doing anything. Again, it's this idea of like, I have to be positive all the time is actually a detriment to our kids because one, they feel like they can never be sad. And to be sad means there's something wrong with them. And then even if you teach them that it's okay to have any and every emotion, but never allowing your own kids to see your struggles, it puts this idea of like, well, my mom was never sad. She was always so happy. So what's wrong with me? Like, why didn't I get any of that? Like, why am I always the one that has all these weird emotions or mixed feelings, right? So sharing your struggles, like at whatever comfort you have, I've let my kids see me cry. That's actually really normal. And I tell my kids all the time, whenever I'm having a hard day, when they ask, I tell them I'm really struggling and I've struggled my fears with them about my health. They have seen me go through the ringer with my autoimmune disease. And during my, like the 6-week protocol that I did, I've shared with them about how hard it was to, see everybody eat the thing that they eat that I can't. But because we talk about it, they see how mom navigates the hard stuff. She doesn't hide from it. She doesn't shy from it. And she also has zero shame around it. There is nothing wrong with not being positive all the time. I want my kids to feel so comfortable with all their feelings and come to me and express it to me and show it to me. And because I embody and demonstrate that and I wear like my heart openly, I want them to like normalize that. Be like, this is how we move around the world. We wear our hearts openly because it gets taken care of, because others respect our needs and others take care of us when we're in a hard place, right? They see my husband take care of me when I'm in a hard place. And he tells them, mom's having a hard day today. Let's give her some space. It's not a secret in our house, right? And any family dynamic that's happening, extended family dynamics, we talk about things openly. We don't hide anything in our family. And we, after discussion with my husband and I, we then present it to our kids. All right. So the final one, I just need the right parenting strategies to implement. This idea of there's something outside of me that can help me parent the way I want to parent. Like I said, we've already covered this. Yes, there are parenting techniques. There are words that we can use. There are frameworks, structure, etc., that can help you feel more confident as a parent. But none of those parenting strategies will work in the moment unless you have done the internal healing work. Because the reason that you struggle with certain aspects of parenting is because there are parts of you that are unhealed. That is a very simple reason we struggle with our kids, right? Our fears take over us. We parent from a place of fear. We worry. We have needs that have not been fulfilled internally that we are seeking to fulfill through our kids. Right? So unless those fundamental things are healed or you are aware of them and working on healing them, there will be aspects that you will continue to struggle with in parenting that will continue to create wounds, right? And you have to be actively working on it. And again, that is what the grounded parent, that's what's so unique about this program, is that I don't just focus on what are the right words that you need to say to your kids. I first focus on you. Like, what are your fears when it comes to parenting? Where did they come from? Right? How can we help you connect to your inner child and heal her so that you can relate to your child like you have never related before? How can you allow more joy and be more present with your children? That is through inner child connection. It's not like a switch in your brain that you just turn on. It's something that it needs to happen in your body, right? And we can do that through connecting to your inner child, through breath work, through somatic healing, so that these strategies that I will absolutely give you in the program will just feel so easy to implement. All right. If you love this episode, I would love for you to go check out the Grounded Parent, the program, and DM me or email me with any questions that you might have. Well, will this help me or not? How long is it? Any details you want? Obviously, the sales page is up and you can get most of the details, but I really want you to reach out to me. Let me know if like this is calling to you. And two, if the program is absolutely of no interest to you, but you love this episode anyway, I would love for you to write me a review of my podcast. If you are a new listener or a longtime listener, if you've never given me a review of my podcast, I would love, love, love that as a thank you to me for showing up week after week for you guys. That is the only thing that I ask in return. All right. I love you guys so much. Take care.